Welcome to Smiles Laboratory. In this laboratory, we specialize on mechanics of impact and leakage through the tools of experimentation and simulation. When we say impact, we are talking of impact of elastic bodies as well as impact of fluids on elastic bodies. Elastic impact is encountered in motor car crashes, in bullet impact, sports impact, and so on. When we talk of impact of fluids on solids, we see them in blasts as well as the impact of medicinal oil on foreheads of human beings in treatments like Shirodhara in Ayurveda. When we say leakage, we are talking of failure of interfaces where we try to investigate the conditions under which two interfaces separate from each other, and also examine how a fluid will flow through the weak interfaces. These are important in the design of seals in high pressure applications as well as in many nuclear type of industries. Our interest in this lab is also to look at failure of solids and structures through the processes like fracture and damage that invariably are there in all solids.
Shirodhara is a classical and well-established Ayurvedic brain relaxation therapy. It is used for treating mental stress, depression, anxiety, insomnia, etc. The word Shirodhara is the union of two words. Shira means head and Dhara means flow of medicinal fluid. The mechanism involved here is the flow impact generated on the forehead of the subject due to free fall of a stream of medicinal fluid at a controlled temperature for a prescribed time duration of 30 to 60 minutes. The design of experiment is as follows, where 17 healthy student volunteers in the age group of 25 to 30 years were considered. The medicinal oil used was Shirabala oil as recommended by a doctor. The liquid was heated to around 37 to 43 degrees Celsius. The work plan for single day is as shown, where before Shirodhara treatment, brain signals are collected through EEG headset as shown in the figure. Then a volunteer undergoes Shirodhara treatment. Again, post-treatment EEG signals are collected. Here in this video, we can see a subject undergoing a Shirodhara treatment under the supervision of professional Ayurvedic therapist. After collection of brain signals through EEG headset, it is then processed in EEG lab toolbox available in MATLAB, and then a spectral power feature is extracted to show the effectiveness of treatment. Apart from EEG signals data collection, physiological parameters like body temperature, systolic, diastolic blood pressure, heart rate, and questionnaires like depression, anxiety, stress scale, well-being index, mood scale index, Pittsburgh sleep quality index were also collected pre and post treatment to show the effectiveness of treatment. Here are some of the results, where alpha by theta ratio neurofeedback was calculated, and it was found that post treatment the ratio has increased, which tells us that the subject is feeling relaxed and awareness after treatment. And also theta wave spectral power was also calculated pre-post treatment, and it was found that spectral power has increased post treatment, which indicates the subject feels drowsiness after treatment.
Ceramic materials are used in engineering applications such as electrical, thermal, and armor systems. Due to its high hardness, high specific strength, shock resistance, ceramic materials can be used for armor systems like bulletproof jackets, vehicle and building protection. Examples of ceramic materials used in such applications are silicon carbide, boron carbide, aluminum nitride, etc. Ceramic materials are used as the strike face material in body armor systems as shown in Figure 1. Figure 2 shows the bullet impact on ceramic plate. When impact happens, the crack will generate and crack will propagate, and the coalescence of crack will lead to the failure of the material. Figure 3 shows the boron carbide plate after the bullet impact. In such applications, the material mainly undergo deformation at a high strain rate under high pressure. The behavior of material will be different at a different strain rate. This figure shows the stress strain curve for the silicon carbide. The compressive strength of the ceramic material increases with increase in strain rate as shown in the figure 5. The response is different for silicon carbide and alumina. It depends on the mechanism of dynamic failure. Therefore, mechanism of dynamic behavior of material is also important in the study of ceramic material. Based on this, the flow of research work is to do the experimental analysis, understand the mechanism of dynamic failure, and develop a constitutive model, and finally to perform numerical analysis. The high strain rate behavior of material can be analyzed by using an experimental setup called split Hopkinson pressure bar. It works on one-dimensional wave propagation theory. It consists of 3 bars mainly: striker, incident, and transmitter bar. The specimen will be placed in between the incident and transmitter bar as shown in the figure. The striker bar is inside a barrel which is connected to a reservoir filled with compressed air. Using a trigger, the compressed air propels the striker with velocity v and it will hit the incident bar. Also, the specimen gets deformed. During this process, the stress wave will propagate through the incident bar, and based on the impedance of the specimen, some wave will reflect and remaining will be transmitted. Strain gauges are attached to the incident and transmitted bar to measure the pulses, and it is connected to the data acquisition unit. Checking the alignment of the setup is very important. This is done by testing without specimen. The pulses are like this. If the incident and transmitted pulses are the same, then the setup is properly aligned. If the specimen is placed in, then the shape of the pulses will change. The shape of the pulse depends on the material behavior. By setting the pressure, we can have different striker velocity, which will allow us to deform the material at a different strain rate. This set of pulse shows the pulses for oxygen-free high conductivity copper, which is used for calibration of the SHPB. Following are the images of SHPB in our lab. The post-processed data of SHPB output will be the stress strain curve for material at a different strain rate. So this shows the stress strain curve for oxygen-free high conductivity copper. So similar experiments can be done on ceramic material and further studies can be done.
A number of games like cricket, tennis, baseball and golf etc. involve impact events which are very critical to the gameplay. For designing better sports equipment and for preventing impact injuries, study of impact is very necessary. In our lab, we are studying the mechanics of various impact scenarios occurring in the game of cricket. One of the most important factors in the game of cricket is how the ball interacts with the pitch and the bat after being bowled, causing it to deviate, turn or bounce unexpectedly. We are currently using finite element approach to understand the behavior of common impact scenarios like bat and ball impact and ball and pitch impact. Collision and impact mechanics associated with the cricket governs the engineering mechanics which has to be studied for proper understanding of the game and to augment the sport performance in terms of reliability, safety and entertainment.
Many metals show increase in yield stress with applied strain rate of 10 power 2 per second and above. Some metals like pure aluminium show increase in yield stress even starting from strain rate of the order of 10 power minus 2 per second. There have been several attempts to investigate rate-dependent strengthening mechanism of metals at length and time scales associated with mechanical experiments, at length and time scales associated with deformation of crystal structures of metals, as well as at atomistic levels. Here at our SMILES lab, we investigate the micromechanics of dislocation motion and thereby understand the physics of the problem observed in experimental levels, especially the strength enhancement mechanism in metals under high strain rate deformations.
The creep fatigue group in Smiles Lab currently focuses on life prediction of a typical nickel-based superalloy under low cycle fatigue and creep conditions. Fatigue refers to failure of components due to repeated cyclic loading. A typical fatigue fracture surface can be seen in figure. We can see beach marks or striations at the surface. The adjoining figure also shows a fatigue failure of a crankshaft journal and the outer rim of a wheel. Creep failure is a time-dependent deformation which is permanent in nature, and it occurs when a material is subjected to constant stress. This failure can also occur when loads are applied at higher temperature. A typical creep curve can be seen in this figure. The examples of creep failure surfaces can also be seen in the current figure. The alloy under consideration is a typical nickel-based superalloy, which is a commonly used superalloy in aero engine components. They can perform well in fatigue and creep loading condition as well as in adverse environmental condition. There are various models to predict low cycle fatigue life. These models are Ostergren model, Zamrick model, Coffin-Manson model, etc. Although these models predict low cycle fatigue life better, but they are phenomenological or empirical in nature. A number of experiments need to be performed, which consumes time and money. So in 1998, Professor Basran and Yan developed unified mechanics theory, which uses entropy as a damage metric. In this figure, we can see that at failure, the ultimate entropy is constant. So entropy is considered as a damage measure. In the unified mechanics theory, entropy can be calculated from Boltzmann equation as shown here. The damage, or as we call it, thermodynamic state index, denoted by phi in this equation, can be calculated as shown in this equation, where phi is equal to thermodynamic state index. Phi CR is a user defined critical value of damage which represents a predefined failure criterion. In the ongoing work, we developed an analytical model to predict low cycle fatigue life, which uses plastic dissipation as the primary source of dissipation. The results of thermodynamic state index versus number of cycle can be seen in this figure. Using an analytical model based on unified mechanics theory, we calculated fatigue life. This matches well at low strain amplitude, and at high strain amplitude there is a slight deviation, as we can see in this figure. This is because the boundary or the geometrical effects are not considered in the analytical prediction. Also, the loop prediction can be done at any strain amplitude and any number of cycle, which can be seen in this figure. Similarly, UMT is also being used to predict creep failure in nickel-based superalloys. Preliminary failure predictions obtained for DZ125 nickel-based superalloy show a small deviation from the corresponding experimental values. Below figures show the comparison of experimental and analytical results. Further investigation to model dissipation due to dominant creep mechanism are now being carried out. This research is related with investigation of effect of non-proportional deformation path on high strain rate behavior and fracture of automotive machined steel plates. Right now, crash CAE doesn't account for rate effects such as dynamic fracture, effect of forming or strain path during part manufacturing, and temperature increase due to strain rate. There is a scope to study effect of strain path as well as dynamic loading on failure strain at different triaxialities. Present work is related with sheet metal forming and crash worthiness of automotive structures. This slide shows experimental setups for high speed testing, basic mechanical forming, constitutive modeling and simulations, and prototyping of crash testing.
O-rings are torus in shape and made up of elastomer. O-rings avoid leakage from one compartment to other compartment. As you can see in the figure 2, the fluid is locked to move from bottom compartment to top compartment. O-rings, depending upon their application, can be divided into two kinds. One is static O-ring seals, where operating conditions are static, there will be no relative motion between the parts, and dynamic seals, where there is a relative motion between the mating parts. Here is a typical sealing mechanism, where an O-ring cross section with top and bottom die is shown. Whenever O-ring is compressed from the top and bottom die, contact pressure is generated, and the gas pressure applied by the fluid or gas in turn increases the contact pressure, sealing the compartment, and that's how sealing is obtained. But whenever contact pressure decreases over time, sealing breaks and leakage takes place. In order to understand this, we are trying to experiment O-rings at different contact pressures. For this experimentation, we are using materials of HNBR, NBR and AKM with dimensions of 60 mm inner diameter and 20 mm cross section. These are the manufactured parts, top part and the bottom part. The top part consists of bolts and the bottom part has a O-ring groove. Next slide consists of the experimental setup, which consists of a nitrogen gas cylinder. The gas is sent to the O-ring fixture, which is inside the compression machine for varying compression percentage, and the leaked gas goes to the measuring cylinder, and the camera is present for calculating and measuring the leak rate. The leak rate measurement setup has 3 inverted cylinders. Each 3 cylinders have a red blob, which are floaters which float with the water column level at that moment, and the blue colored labels are for references. Depending upon the leak rate, the shutoff valves are manually switched on and off. If a higher leak rate is there, then the cylinder with a maximum diameter is used to measure the leak rate. If a gas leaks from the fixture, it pushes the water column and the red blob moves in the bottom, and with the rate of its movement is captured by the camera and leak rate is calculated. So this is the typical result, where for an NBR O-ring, leakage initiation pressure increases with compression percentage. Markings were done on the bottom fixture. A 3-camera setup is placed for capturing all the 360° of the fixture. There is a video feed of all the 3 cameras over the leakage experiment duration, and you can see from where the leakage starts and how it varies with increasing pressure over the circumference. It starts from the camera 1 and then camera 2 and camera 3. These are the leak rate plots which are obtained from NBR O-ring for different gas pressures and compression percentage.
Research is an enriching and an enlightening experience. It involves several factors. It involves, number 1, identifying gaps of knowledge that exist within your chosen field of investigation. Number 2, it involves focused attention and focused thinking for a period of times in order to develop a hypothesis that may solve a post problem. Number 3, it involves a testing of this hypothesis using tools of experimentation and logical thinking, which some people call as mathematics. Finally, it involves precise articulation of one's results. An articulation that is sharpened by tools of debate with other peers in your own field. Research is not merely an ego-boosting trip where one tries to prove that one is second to none at a particular time in a particular field. It is an enlightening experience where we discover ourselves and the wonderful laws of nature and a relationship between ourselves and this beautiful universe which some people call as God. A research experience will help us to keep smiling and carry these smiles all through our lives.
In this work, a computer code called DSS-DYN has been developed for performing an integrated analysis including both explosive and liquid has been carried out on the benchmark problem. The analysis aims to determine the DSD responses, spatial and temporal variations of pressure, density and particle velocities and associated physical phenomena. Figure 1a shows pressure wave propagation in explosive and water, and figure 1b shows detonation and shock wave propagation in underwater explosion. Numerical simulation of DSD-DYN with LS-DYNA. Figure 2a shows time to reach peak velocity in explosive. Figure 2b shows peak velocity distribution in the explosive. Figure 2c, it shows time to reach peak pressure in the explosive, and figure 2d shows the peak pressure distribution in the explosive. The complicated physical processes involved in DSD have been numerically simulated with a dedicated code DSS-DYN specific to underwater explosion with PETN in this particular study. The second work is numerical simulation of dynamics of hybrid bearing rotor system. In this work, a numerical tool is presented for simulating the dynamics of a vertical rotor attached with pocket bearing assembly immersed in a liquid pool. An experimental model was conceived in a novel way to study the dynamic response of a vertical coolant pump of a typical sodium-cooled fast reactor. Figure 2 shows the schematic sketch of the test setup with details. Development of ratcheting design rules for the modified G91 steel is the international effort of designers and code developers for Generation 4 and fusion reactors. In this figure, simulation of uniaxial mechanical properties of G91 steel can be seen. Two benchmark problems are presented in this section. These problems had been the basis for developing Brie and efficiency index diagram in ASME and RCC MRX codes. The first one is a thin cylinder subjected to internal pressure and cyclic through-the-wall thermal stress, and the second one is a tension torsion specimen. The diagram on the right shows the ratcheting simulations. This figure shows the assessment of Brie diagram for G91 steels. This is the assessment of O'Donnell-Borowski diagram. And finally, this is the assessment of efficiency index diagram. The 20-parameter Chebyshev model has been developed and validated adequately to simulate the unique mechanical behavior of G91 steel under cyclic thermomechanical loadings over the wide range of temperatures and strain levels.